Ever feel like you're just kind of, going through the motions, waiting for that moment where everything clicks into place? Like there's this like grand plan
Yeah.
that you're just not in on.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. That whole divine purpose thing can feel so mysterious, right?
It really is a universal question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like trying to make sense of, all the ups and downs
Totally.
and wondering if we're missing the bigger picture.
Totally. And today, we're diving deep into that very idea of divine purpose and trusting, well, the timing of everything through that Christian lens.
Okay.
You shared a sermon transcript with us called The Road to Redemption, Lessons from John 12, Part 5.
Wow.
So we're jumping right into the thick of it here.
We are. And John 12 is a pretty pivotal chapter, especially as we get closer to, the climax of Jesus's life. It's weighty stuff.
Okay, so no pressure then, right?
Right.
But really, this whole sermon series is called The Road to Redemption. And even just that title alone sparks so many questions.
It sets the stage for a journey. And I think, as we all know, journeys aren't always easy, right? This one especially, knowing what we know is coming, there's a lot of tension there.
Exactly. And speaking of journeys, one thing I really struggle with is that concept of God's timing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on, who hasn't wished they could fast forward through the tough parts?
Oh, I know.
Or like hit rewind on a mistake, right?
It's so human, that desire for control, right? We want to understand the why behind every delay, every detour.
Right.
But then John 12:23, it really throws us a curveball. Jesus says, the hour has come.
Yeah.
Talk about a reality check, right? It really points to this idea that there is a predetermined plan.
Wow.
Even when things seem completely chaotic.
It's like suddenly realizing you might not actually be the one calling the shots.
Yeah.
Does that mean we don't have free will?
Right.
How does human choice fit into this predetermined plan?
Those are the million-dollar questions.
Right.
And the sermon, it really digs into these tough concepts.
Yeah, man.
It connects this idea of divine timing back to Ecclesiastes 3.1, which says, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens.
Right.
And it's a good reminder that we're part of something so much bigger than just us.
Right. Like we think we're the ones setting our own alarms, but really we're on this like grander cosmic clock. And sometimes that waiting, that wondering, that's just part of the process.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really thought-provoking. For me, the sermon then talks about finding purpose in pain. Now, I think that's something a lot of us can relate to, right?
It's a tough one, for sure.
Yeah.
It's hard to grapple with when you're in a hard season, It's definitely a tough one.
Yeah.
Who wants to hear, this is happening for a reason, when you're hurting, right?
Right. But then the sermon points to John 12:27, where even Jesus himself is struggling with this.
Oh.
He says, now my soul is troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. No, it was for this very reason I came to this hour.
Wow.
So he's fully aware of how heavy the situation is, right? The fear, the anguish.
Right.
And yet there's this incredible, surrender to a higher purpose.
Yeah, it's like he's showing us what it looks like to trust,
Right.
Even when it hurts, even when we don't have all the answers.
Which is such a powerful message.
Yeah.
But how do we actually, apply that to our own lives?
Right.
It's one thing to read about it in the Bible, but what about in those everyday moments when we just want to give up?
Well, the sermon draws a really interesting parallel there.
Okay.
It connects Jesus's experience with Romans 8:28.
Okay.
Which says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose.
There's that word again, purpose. It keeps coming up, doesn't it?
It does.
But if we're being totally honest, sometimes that purpose feels really unclear.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's where trust comes in, It's not about knowing every step of the plan or even understanding the reasons behind every hardship, but it's about that deeper trust.
Okay.
That even when things don't make sense, even when it hurts, there's something bigger unfolding.
So it's more about the journey than the destination.
In a way, yeah. And the sermon actually takes us a step further into that whole idea of God's sovereignty. Yeah. This idea that ultimately we're not the ones in control, that there's something greater orchestrating everything, even when we can't see it.
Okay, so how does that work practically? Does that mean we just, sit back and let life happen to us?
Right. I think
What about our own goals,
It's not about being passive, but more about surrendering that need to control every little thing. Remember that prayer of Jesus in John 12:28? Father, glorify your name.
Right.
It's powerful, that surrender.
It is.
Recognizing that there's something greater at work.
It's like saying, okay, I trust you.
Yeah.
Even if I don't understand what you're doing.
Exactly.
That takes a lot of faith.
It does.
Yeah.
And this sermon, it acknowledges that this is something we practice throughout our lives.
Right.
The surrendering to something bigger than us.
Mm-hmm.
And it quotes Proverbs 19.21, which says, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails."
I love that. The Lord's purpose prevails. It's like that saying, we're just pencils in the hand of a divine artist.
I love that.
Right. Like we have our part to play, but the masterpiece is something far beyond what we could create on our own.
Yeah.
But even knowing that, it's hard to let go of the pencil sometimes.
Right.
Right? Like we still want to doodle in the margins.
Of course. We all do.
Yeah.
But that's where those practical steps for daily living come in, right?
Right.
Remember those from the sermon?
Okay, so let's get practical.
Yeah.
The sermon lists 3 steps. Trust in God's timing, find purpose in pain, and submit to God's sovereignty.
Big stuff.
Those are pretty deep concepts, right?
They are.
Especially for like a Tuesday afternoon.
I know, right? But the good news is, it's not just about these big abstract ideas.
Right.
It's about actually putting them into practice every single day.
Okay, I like that.
It starts with that first step.
Yeah.
Trusting in God's timing.
Which, if we're being real, is much easier said than done.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, we want everything now, right?
Right.
Instant gratification.
Right. Exactly.
And we panic when things don't go exactly according to plan.
It's true, isn't it? And think about those times when you're waiting for, I don't know, like a job offer or a doctor's appointment.
Or just a text back even.
Yes. It's so easy to get caught up in that anxiety of the unknown.
Seriously. Like my phone battery can feel it when I'm waiting for something.
Right. And that's when we got to remember, like you were saying earlier, there's a time for everything.
Right.
That whole letting go of the need for instant gratification and trusting that there's this bigger rhythm, you know?
It's funny you should say that, actually. I've been reading up on like different spiritual traditions.
Okay.
And that idea of surrender keeps popping up.
Really?
Yeah, it's like letting go of the oars and just trusting that the current will take you where you need to be eventually.
Exactly. Like it's not about being passive, but it's that surrender of control.
Right.
And that actually leads really well into that next step, finding purpose in pain.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay.
The sermon mentions Jeremiah 29.11.
Okay.
It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." But I got to be honest.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm going through a rough time, that just sounds, I don't know, a little too Hallmark, you know?
Right. Like, is it really that simple?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I don't think it's about putting on a happy face or pretending that things aren't hard.
Right.
That verse, it's not about toxic positivity or anything. It's more about perspective, I think. Like, acknowledging the pain, for sure.
Yeah.
But also holding on to that belief that something good can come from it.
Okay.
That even when things are tough, God's still working everything together for good.
So we're not trying to like micromanage the tapestry of our lives.
Right.
We're learning to trust the weaver.
Exactly. It takes humility to admit that we don't have all the answers. And that brings us to the last step.
Okay.
Submitting to God's sovereignty.
Which, let's be honest, it's like this lifelong wrestling match, isn't it?
It really is, yeah.
Like we want to be in control, but...
Yeah, we think we are, but...
Well, we're not.
But we're not the ultimate author of the story.
Oh, I like that. We're not writing this story. We're just characters in it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And we don't always know the plot twists. Oh, no.
Right. Some of them are painful. Some of them are exciting. But it's in those moments where we let go of control, where we really open ourselves up to something amazing.
Wow, this has been such an eye-opening conversation.
It's always a good one.
It is. It is.
These are big questions.
They are. So much to unpack there.
Yeah.
Well, for everyone diving deep with us today, we've gone through John 12, right? We talked about this idea of divine timing, finding purpose in pain.
Yeah.
And ultimately, like, surrendering to something bigger than ourselves.
Surrendering to that bigger story.
Exactly. If this got you thinking, take some time to reflect on your own life, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Where do you need to loosen your grip?
Well,
Where do you need to trust the timing?
that's it.
And just surrender to the bigger picture. Something to think about. Absolutely.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep trusting, and as always, happy diving.